New Guinea, and welcome to a brand new episode of Business PNG. Now tonight on the show, I sat down with Chairman for Kumul Telikom as he discussed the long-awaited merger between state-owned communication companies, B-Mobile, DataCo and Telikom PNG, as well as the new undersea cable from Australia through to Port Moresby and Honiara, and what Papua New Guineans can expect from this merger. Tonight on the show, we have Mr. Andrew Johnson here with us tonight. He is the chairman of Kumul Telikom. Mr. Johnson, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Leanne.
How are you?
I'm very well.
Okay. We'll go straight into it. There has been some discussions about the amalgamation of state-owned communication companies. Can you tell us a little bit about that and set the record straight, basically?
Look, I think the way to look at it is that it's been talked about a merger. What it really is, we're restoring what was there before 2007. What happened a few years ago, a decade ago, deregulation, Digicel came in, which was actually a force for good, opened up telecommunications across the country, brought down costs, provided high quality of service to a large number of people. And at the same time, TPNG was broken into its mobile business and its fixed business. Probably not a good move. That's caused years of, in a lot of ways, wasteful competition, destructive competition between the different state-owned enterprises. And the government has got to recognise that the right, and very rightly so, the right move is to build them together to make a single strong telco with a retail fixed, a retail mobile and a wholesale business, which is existing DataCo. It's a very sound move. So think about it really as a restoration of an integrated, strong national service company rather than a bringing together of what sort of companies that don't really fit.
Yeah,
it will fit together very well.
Okay, fair enough. I understand the process of mergers of state-owned companies take years in other countries, that's for sure, especially in developing countries as well. How long will this process take for Papua New Guinea, and how efficient will it be?
Well, my job and the job of the board and the job of the senior team is to make it efficient, and I'd have to say, Leanne, I'm an impatient person. This is not something we're going to take years over. We're going to do it at as quickly as we can, but keeping things fully under control without negative impact on our staff and absolutely without negative impact on our customers. We're well into it already. There is a natural fit. We're bringing the wholesale, the transmission business is going to DataCo. That's happening smoothly. The mobile business is coming together under an integrated mobile business, and there are views that we're moving TPNG mobile into B Mobile. Absolutely wrong. We're creating a single mobile business from the elements of both the 4G network in TPNG, the 2G networks around the country with B Mobile. When will it get done? It needs to be fully in place by this time next year. Okay. Being a little bit careful with APEC. I don't want to do anything too tricky before APEC because it's absolutely critically important that Kumul is a showcase for the country at APEC.
Okay. I like how you mentioned customers, because at the end of the day it is all about your customers, your Papua New Guinean customers. Tell us a little bit about how this merger will affect competition and eventually affordability.
Clearly it's not a good situation that you end up with a single overseas owned dominant carrier. Our job is to create full competition here by building an equally capable national carrier, and that's the job that we've got to do, restoring leadership in PNG hands. I remind people that the combined entity is 100% owned in PNG. And the impact on customers basically is that savings pass down to the customer. Competition is good, and it will provide a high quality of service at a lower cost for everybody in PNG, and that's just not sort of cliched statement. It's absolutely what we're about. That's the reason why the government has chosen to do it, and it's absolutely what our task is to do.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned high quality, especially 80% of our population about 80% live in rural areas. So how will this affect them?
Well, that in a lot of ways is the challenge. We'll talk later about the new Coral Sea cable coming into Port Moresby. Our challenge is to bring that capability around the country. We've got various transmission systems, technology called OPGW, which is basically fibre along power lines. We have microwave, we have satellite. Central to our strategy is to build a domestic cable around the country leading to the islands, and that will bring high-speed internet, high-quality telecommunications to the whole country. Basically, we just need to build a lot more mobile towers. We've got a program in discussion today, close to finalisation, to do another great leap forward in terms of our coverage. Today, we have in our B Mobile and our telecom mobile networks, we have a level of overlap. We've got to basically break that out and basically just move increasingly into the full remote areas of the country.
That's a good segue. Tell us a little bit more about this undersea fibre network.
Yeah, Leanne, this is I think the most exciting thing that's happened in telecommunications in PNG ever. Last year, our New Guinea Prime Minister and the Australian Prime Minister agreed to build, largely at Australia's expense, a new submarine cable that will come from Sydney, split to Honiara in the Solomons, where, by the way, we also own a very strong mobile network, and into Port Moresby. To put that into context, it's a massive cable, the biggest cable out of Australia, Southern Cross, which links Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, the west coast of the States, is about 6 terabits. This is a 20 terabit cable. This is probably the best cable I've ever seen, and my business is telecommunications. To put that into context, 20 terabits is 2,000 full-length movies a second. It is just an unbelievable thing. So what does that mean to people of PNG? It means dramatically lower cost. It means dramatically better services. It means that they really join the first world economy of telecommunications, where they're paying the same cost as anybody else in the world for first world telecommunication services. That's absolutely our charter.
Great, sounds good.
Well, and Leanne, I stress this: if I sound excited about it, I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is really, really great.
Okay, and so we'll be expecting that in the next coming...
End of 2019, the contracts will be signed by the end of May. Vendors pretty much selected. All the pre-work has been done. In fact, the DataCo team here have done a spectacularly good job on preparing a landing site. So I would believe we'd go live really before Christmas of 2019.
Great.
That's everybody's big Christmas present.
Great. I'm Leanne Gerari in Sydney, and you're watching Business PNG. With the announcement of the merger, the communications workers unions have been concerned about their members losing jobs and entitlements. Can you comment on this?
Look, absolutely, and that's very, very central. Change is disruptive. We all understand that, and we've got an absolute responsibility. A few weeks ago, the board each signed a very clear statement to all members of staff, including all the unions, saying really where things were going, why they were being done. They're being done basically because the business has been losing money. We're under financial stress. I believe absolutely recoverable, but we do need to make these changes. Second question is, what does this mean to employees' rights? Absolutely, unequivocally, on the record, and exactly the same as Minister Duma recently said. Nobody's legal rights of employment will be in any way reduced. Absolutely, and there's no weasel word, I expect or anything like that. Absolutely no. So let's get that off the record. That's very clear. And then the final question then really is, what does this mean for employment? Well, look, in the old days, state-owned enterprises felt they had an absolute right to full employment guaranteed by the state. The Prime Minister, Minister Duma, have made it very clear. But what we all know, that governments don't give you employment, customers give you employment. We've got to be competitive, we've got to be affordable, people have got to want to buy our services. But is the business going to grow? Absolutely yes. Are we going to be looking for more people? Absolutely yes. In fact, my concern in the strategies for the last couple of years in TPNG, I believe a lot of good, very well qualified people, loyal employees have left the company. I want to see them back. So I'm very, very comfortable that we are going to be able to grow the business. And frankly, if you look at my track record over the years, I don't think I've ever run a business. I've run some reasonable sized ones where we haven't sort of doubled, in one case grown 6 times over a 5-year period.
Right.
Whether we'll do that here, I don't know, but employment is one of our key things. In terms of the unions, I'd have to say had very, very good and sensible discussions with them. Good people, we want to keep them fully involved.
Okay, great. The sector has changed quite a lot over the years, especially around the world. Now, with the government of the day pushing digitalization, and I believe with APAC as well, they're pushing that. How is Kumul Telecom going to evolve and innovate?
Well, leadership. You know that if you want to be, our job isn't to come a good second. Our job is to be number one. We better be the best telco in this country, and that's absolutely what we set out to do. We've got with our Huawei provided 4G network. We've got the best technology. We're about to get the best cable that frankly the world's ever seen. We've got a lot of very positive things. So the rest of it's really up to us. We've all got to be better at our jobs. We've got a lot of very well qualified people in there. But I think the other thing is, the old days of telco was about connecting phone calls. It was about connectivity. Today it's carriage of content, carriage of exactly services like we're doing today. It's about media, it's about entertainment, it's about just connecting people, and not only people within the country, but people to all the content services in the world. So it's what's called over the top. It's the data you put on top of the connectivity. So what we need to provide is low cost, flawless connectivity for the country, and then all of the interesting things people want to do with telecommunications devices.
Okay. I believe that's another great segue to my next question. While I have you here, I'd be remiss not to ask you what plans Kumul Telecom has for the media subsidiaries, MTV, FM 100, if you can discuss this?
Oh, very much so, and a key area. In the years that I had running engineering in Telstra, Foxtel was one of our was one of my responsibilities there. We did have with News Corporation and Packet Organisation, basically an entity providing pay TV around the country by satellite and by HFC. Media has always been a very great interest, and I've got to say that FM 100, EMTV, very central to our strategies going forward. My view would be if we didn't already have them as part of the family, we'd be looking for things like that. And it comes back to the question of how do you make money out of a telco? The days of doing it on phone calls is behind us. It's really a question of it's the content you provide.
Sure.
Do we have an absolute clear-cut strategy? No, absolutely working on it. And you've never, the media area is probably the most interesting part of telco. You're never there. You're continually working to do something that's new and is exciting for your customers. And the question is, to what extent do we do it locally? To what extent do we join in providing, affordable Netflix or whatever's the world? It's going to be a combination of both.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Look, I just hope that our task is very clearly we've got to rebuild the nation's confidence in the business. We absolutely understand that, and we're not going to do that without doing anything else other than providing great services. So the really message is I expect people to be demanding of us. Leanne, I'm very happy to come back here and go through the same thing and actually show the progress we're making. But we are serious about getting to be number one in every way.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for your time.
I'm Leanne in Port Moresby, and you're watching Business PNG.
In this segment, we speak to General Manager for Credit Corporation Finance Papua New Guinea, Mr. Andy Roberts, about the company's 40th anniversary in Papua New Guinea, the operations, as well as some of the challenges they face. Tonight on the show, we have Mr. Andy Roberts, the General Manager of Credit Corporation Finance Papua New Guinea. How are you, Mr. Roberts?
Very well, Leanne. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. I understand that you've been in the country for 5 months now. How are you liking it?
I love it here, yeah. Having a great time.
Great. So congratulations to Credit Corporation's 40th anniversary this year. Am I right in saying that?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the company has come of age with Papua New Guinea pretty much. Can you briefly share with us the history of Credit Corp?
Well, thank you very much. And yes, we're very proud to be celebrating 40 years in business this year. So Credit Corp started in a small office in Morocco in 1978, small finance company. And from those humble beginnings has grown now to be one of the leading financial institutions and companies in Papua New Guinea. And look, we've grown with the country, as you said, through natural disasters, recessions, and we've been able to grow the business through those times.
Sure.
In fact, many businesses have come to us for their first loan, for their first piece of equipment as a startup.
Yeah.
And we've helped those businesses grow, and many of them today are household names in Papua New Guinea. And we're very proud of that as well. We were actually the first company in Papua New Guinea to expand into the Pacific, starting in Fiji. So we're very excited and happy to be celebrating our 40-year anniversary this year.
Yeah, okay. So just in layman terms for the viewers who don't really know what Credit Corporation does, can you just explain a little bit about what Credit Corp does?
Yeah, Credit Corporation is a finance company, licensed finance company in Papua New Guinea. We also have subsidiaries in Timor, Fiji, Vanuatu and the Solomons in the finance business. We have branches also in Hagen, Kokopo and Lae. And we also have a diverse property portfolio and investment portfolio.
Okay, so while I have you here, I'd be remiss not to ask you about the economy, the state of the economy. It's no secret that our economy isn't doing too well, especially over the last few years, I'd say, with Forex and with the prices of the extractive industries, basically the mining and petroleum sector. Despite this, Papua New Guinean businesses have been very resilient. So can you give us a brief, basically tell us a little bit about how Credit Corp has or is overcoming this economic environment?
Yeah, well, look, I would agree with you in that Papua New Guineans and Papua New Guinean businesses are very resilient and need to be in this type of economy. And look, from Credit Corp's point of view, we're not really directly impacted by the Forex shortage. However, and mostly because we deal directly with Papua New Guinean businesses. However, those businesses that we deal with are impacted. And it's certainly when I ask people what keeps them up at night and what's the main challenge in their business, most people answer the shortage of foreign exchange. However, they get on, they get by, and these type of businesses are normally your businesses that have got overseas suppliers, so they're greatly affected, and we continue to work closely with our customers through this challenge.
Okay. So Papua New Guinea is ranked 109 in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business list. A lot of the companies I've spoken to have listed issues such as lack of infrastructure, corruption, and security as some of the major hurdles that they have to overcome. What, if any, are some of the challenges that Credit Corporation has to overcome?
Well, look, I'd agree with some of those points, and in Credit Corporation in particular, we see challenges with, in particular, utility services, power, infrastructure affecting business. We certainly see that law and order is an issue, and in fact, it has a direct impact on our bottom line because we have to employ our own security force and also engage external contractors. So that's a big issue for the country and for business.
Sure. Okay. So as you know, 2018 is the APAC year here in Papua New Guinea, and according to the government of the day, digital globalization is the future of business. How is your company embracing digitalization?
Well, look, I would totally agree with that sentiment, that the digital economy is the future. And we do see great opportunities there for business in general and for Credit Corp. We would see the opportunity to embrace digital technologies in order to deliver better services to our clients. But of course, as we discussed, we really need to see the infrastructure, the telecommunications infrastructure improve in this country for companies like ours to embrace technology and improve our business. And hopefully APEC, being in Port Moresby in Papua New Guinea this year, will bring some focus on this much needed area and hopefully improve the resources available to improve it as well.
Okay, let's get back to less gloomy things. As we said before, Credit Corporation celebrates its 40 years. So what plans does the company have to I guess, celebrate this year?
Oh, look, we're very excited about the milestone that we're about to celebrate, and we have a very positive, optimistic view for the future. The immediate future we see as very, very bright, notwithstanding some of the issues we've spoken about.
Sure.
And we will continue to grow our business. We have, from that foundation 40 years ago, got a great platform to grow even more now and stronger, both in our finance companies, our investments, our properties, and our overseas subsidiaries as well. So we believe we're well positioned for strong growth into the future, and dare I say, for the next 40 years as well.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts, for your time, and thank you for joining us on Business PNG.
Thanks, Leanne. Thanks for the opportunity.
And that's all we have for this episode of Business PNG. For more information, or if you would simply like to view this episode again, visit EMTV online at the URL at the bottom of your screen. Or to simply join the conversation, like our page on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at the Twitter handle at Business PNG. Until next week, have a pleasant evening. I'm Leanne, and this was Business PNG.